My name is James Miller. I'm 67 years old, and I've always believed that staying active was the key to living a long, healthy life. Every morning, for the last 25 years, I put on my sneakers and walked a few laps around my neighborhood here in Seattle. Rain or shine, I showed up. I thought I was doing everything right, until one morning, something changed. It started with a small ache in my left knee. Nothing serious, just a bit stiff when I stood up. I told myself it was normal. "It's just age," I said. But the stiffness became a sharp pain. Then one day, as I was walking down the stairs with a bag of groceries, I felt a sudden pop, like something snapped inside my knee. I grabbed the railing, almost fell, and couldn't put any weight on my leg. That moment changed everything. I thought I had been helping my body all these years. But the truth is, I was doing exercises that were slowly wearing down my knees, without even knowing it. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't careless. I just didn't know what was right for my age. And that's why I'm here, to share what I've learned, the hard way, so maybe you don't have to go through the same pain I did. You see, after that injury, I met with a physical therapist who told me something that shocked me. "James, many older adults are damaging their knees not because they're inactive, but because they're doing the wrong kinds of activity. Some exercises that worked for us when we were 30 or 40 can be dangerous now. Our joints are not the same. Our recovery is slower. And the pain we ignore today may lead to surgery tomorrow." In this video, I want to show you 9 common exercises that seem harmless, but could be quietly hurting your knees. I'll also show you safer, smarter ways to stay strong and mobile, so you can keep living life on your terms. You've worked hard your whole life. You've earned the right to move without pain. But first, we need to stop doing the things that are slowly taking away that freedom. Let's begin. Part 1. The deep squat. A silent trap for aging knees. If you had told me 10 years ago that a simple squat could damage my knees, I wouldn't have believed you. Squats were everywhere, on TV, in workout classes, even in senior fitness programs. People said they helped keep your legs strong and your balance steady. But here's what I didn't know back then. The deeper you squat, the more pressure you put on your knees, especially the soft cushion inside called cartilage. And as we get older, that cushion becomes thinner, weaker, and more fragile. I used to do deep squats almost every day. I thought I was building strength. But in reality, I was grinding down my knees bit by bit. The pain didn't show up right away. It started small, just a little soreness after I stood up from a chair. Then it got worse. I'd wake up with stiff knees, find it hard to bend down, and feel a sharp jolt if I moved too fast. The problem with deep squats is that they bend the knee past its natural comfort zone. At 30, that might be fine. But at 60 or 70, our joints can't handle that kind of pressure anymore. Each time you drop low into a squat, you stretch the ligaments and squeeze the cartilage. You may not feel it at first, but the damage builds over time. One day, during my usual routine, I felt something shift. I tried to stand back up and couldn't. My knee had locked in place. I had to sit down and call for help. Later, the doctor said I had torn a piece of cartilage. It would take months of therapy to recover, and I'd never have the same strength again. That's when I realized, not all exercises are safe for older bodies. What works for younger people doesn't always work for us. So what should we do instead? If you want to strengthen your legs without hurting your knees, try a half squat using a chair behind you. You don't need to go all the way down, just a small bend is enough. Or try wall sits, where you lean against the wall and slide down just a little, holding for a few seconds. These moves are gentle, safe, and still build strength. Remember, pain is not a sign that you're doing something right. It's your body's way of. I learned that lesson the hard way. You don't have to. Let's move on to the next exercise, and it might surprise you. Part 2, high-intensity workouts. Too much, too fast, too risky. After my injury, I started reading everything I could about safe exercises for seniors. That's when I came across something unexpected. Many older adults were getting hurt doing HIIT workouts. That's short for high-intensity interval training. Now, don't get me wrong. The idea behind HIIT is good. Short bursts of fast movement, followed by rest. It's supposed to be time-saving and energizing. But here's the problem. It's often way too intense for older joints, especially knees that have already gone through decades of wear and tear. I remember meeting a man named George at a senior center in Portland. He was 65 and in pretty good shape. He told me, "I started doing HIIT because my son said it would keep me young." For the first few weeks, he felt great. But then, his knees began to ache badly. He thought it was just soreness. Until one day, during a fast sidestep, his knee twisted. He tore a ligament and had to use crutches for 2 months. HIIT routines often include jumping, fast squats, lunges, and sudden turns. These movements can stress the knees far beyond what they're ready for. The speed makes it hard to keep good form. And when you're tired, your body doesn't move the way it should. That's when accidents happen. The most dangerous part? Many HIIT videos online are not made for seniors. They don't warn you. They don't give gentle options. And they push you to go harder when your knees are begging for rest. So what's the better way? If you like the idea of short bursts of movement, try low-impact intervals instead. For example, walk at a normal pace for 1 minute, then walk a little faster for 30 seconds. Cycle on a stationary bike with light resistance, then rest. Do seated leg raises or light marching in place with music for fun and rhythm. You still get your heart rate up. You still stay active. But you protect your joints, which is what really matters in the long run. Here's what I always tell my friends now. Movement should build you, not break you. If an exercise feels too fast, too hard, or too painful, trust your instincts. Slow down. Modify. There's no prize for pushing yourself into injury. Let's move on. You've probably heard that running is great for your health. But for aging knees? It's not that simple. Part 3. Running on pavement. The quiet killer of knee health. When I was younger, I used to love the sound of my shoes hitting the sidewalk. That steady rhythm of running felt like freedom. I know many of you probably felt the same. Running was simple, free, and made us feel alive. But here's the truth. What once kept us fit can now quietly wear us down, especially our knees. After my knee injury, I spoke with a physical therapist named Claire. She said, "James, running on hard surfaces is one of the top reasons I see seniors come in with knee damage." That surprised me. I always thought running was healthy. And it can be, but not on concrete, and not for everyone after a certain age. Let me explain why. Every step you take while running sends a shock wave through your legs. For younger bodies, that's okay. Their joints still have thick cartilage, the soft cushion that absorbs impact. But as we age, that cushion gets thinner. The joints become stiffer. And instead of bouncing back, the knees take the full hit, step after step, mile after mile. It's like dropping a book onto a soft couch versus a wooden floor. When your cartilage is gone, your knees become that wooden floor. I met a woman named Teresa, 66 years old, who ran every morning around her neighborhood in Phoenix. One day, she felt a dull ache in her right knee. She ignored it. A few weeks later, that ache turned into sharp pain. Then her knee swelled up. An MRI showed that her cartilage was almost gone, and her bones had started grinding against each other. She had to stop running completely. That's not rare. Many seniors don't realize the damage until it's too late. So what can you do instead? You don't have to give up movement. Just change the surface and the style. Walk briskly on grass, a dirt trail, or a rubber track. Use a treadmill with cushioning if you're indoors. Try cycling, which gives your knees motion without pounding. Or even better, swimming, the best full-body, zero-impact exercise for aging joints. Running isn't evil, but for many of us over 60, especially on hard pavement, it's simply too harsh. Your knees have carried you through a lifetime of steps. It's time to return the favor and treat them gently. Still, running isn't the only surprise hiding in our workout routines. Let's take a look at another common trap, one that looks safe, but hides a lot of risk. Part 4. Old aerobics videos, a trip down memory lane that hurts your knees. Do you remember those workout tapes from the 80s and 90s? Colorful leggings, upbeat music, and instructors shouting, "Feel the burn." I do. My wife and I used to exercise together in the living room, following along with those VHS tapes. It felt fun, energetic, and familiar. But here's the thing, we're not in our 30s anymore. And our knees aren't either. After I hurt my knee, I tried going back to those same routines, thinking it might help me stay active. The movements were simple, right? Marching, side steps, some jumping jacks here and there. But within a few minutes, my knee started to ache. The next day, it was swollen. That's when I realized those videos weren't made for older bodies. They were designed for young adults, people with strong joints, flexible tendons, and quick recovery. Not for someone like me, who now takes a bit longer to warm up and a lot longer to heal. One of the biggest problems with those old workouts is the fast, repetitive impact. They often include bouncing, hopping, twisting, and quick side-to-side steps. These may seem small, but over time, they create wear and tear on your knees. Movements that once felt easy can now cause tiny injuries that build up slowly, until one day, something gives out. Let me tell you about Mary, a 70-year-old neighbor of mine. She was full of energy and loved doing her old Jane Fonda workouts. But after 6 months of doing them daily, she began having trouble walking down the stairs. Her doctor said her knee was inflamed from repeated strain, and she had to stop all her exercise for weeks. It broke her heart. But the truth is, it's not about giving up. It's about adjusting. So what should we do instead? There are aerobic classes made just for seniors now. These programs have slower, smoother transitions between movements. No jumping or twisting. Focus on balance, coordination, and breathing. Built-in rest periods. Even better, you can find these kinds of exercises online for free or at your local community center. Look for programs labeled low impact or senior friendly. And remember, music and movement are still wonderful ways to stay active. Just make sure the rhythm fits your knees, not the other way around. Your body is wise. It remembers every step you've taken. And now, it needs your wisdom to choose the steps that will carry you forward without pain. Up next, we'll talk about an exercise that looks powerful, but can cause just as much damage if we're not careful. Let's talk about jumping. Part 5, Jumping Exercises, Small Leaps, Big Trouble for Your Knees. When you hear the word jumping, you probably picture something light and playful, maybe kids skipping rope or athletes training hard in a gym. But these days, jumping isn't something I take lightly. Not after what I've learned about how it can affect aging knees. I used to think a little jump here and there couldn't hurt. After all, it's just part of staying active, right? Some fitness classes even include jumping exercises to keep the heart young. But what they don't tell you is this: your knees aren't made for that kind of impact anymore. Here's why jumping becomes dangerous as we age. Every time your feet leave the ground, gravity pulls you back down. And when you land, your knees have to absorb all that force. When we were younger, our joints could handle it. The cartilage in our knees was thick and springy, like a soft cushion. But now, that cushion has worn thin. Our ligaments are tighter, less flexible. Our balance isn't what it used to be. Even a small jump, like a hop during a dance class, can send a shock through the knees that leaves pain behind. And it doesn't always happen right away. Sometimes, it takes weeks or months before the discomfort turns into something serious. I met a woman named Sharon at a wellness group. She was 68, full of life, and had joined a senior aerobics class that included light jumping. At first, she felt great, stronger, more energized. But after a few sessions, she started to feel sharp pains when walking. Her doctor told her that repeated jumping had caused tiny tears in the cartilage. Now she needed physical therapy just to go up the stairs. It wasn't her fault. She just didn't know. So what can you do instead? You can still enjoy movement, music, and strength without your feet ever leaving the ground. Try marching in place instead of jumping. Do step touches or side-to-side shifts to get your heart rate up. Use resistance bands or light hand weights for strength instead of high-impact moves. If you're taking a class, don't be afraid to ask the instructor for low-impact options. The goal isn't to push harder, it's to move smarter. You don't need to leave the ground to feel strong. In fact, staying grounded might just be the best way to keep moving freely for years to come. We're not done yet. The next exercise may seem perfectly safe, especially because it happens while you're sitting down. But it could be quietly doing more harm than good. Let's talk about the leg press machine. Part 6, the leg press machine. Looks safe, feels strong, but hurts the knees. After my knee injury, I was determined to keep my legs strong without making things worse. That's when someone at the gym suggested the leg press machine. It's safer, they said. You're sitting down, your back is supported, no problem at all. I believed them. At first, it felt easy. I was just pressing my feet against a plate, pushing the weight upward. I didn't feel any pain, so I added more weight, just a little more each week. It gave me a sense of strength again, like I was getting back to normal. But slowly, my knees started to ache. Not just during the workout, afterward, too. They felt stiff, swollen, and sore. One day, in the middle of a set, I felt a sharp pain deep in my knee and had to stop. It felt like something had pulled or torn. Later, my physical therapist explained what went wrong. The leg press machine may look harmless, but it actually puts a lot of pressure on the knees, especially when you add heavy weight. You're bending and straightening your knees under load, which squeezes the cartilage and stretches the ligaments in a way they're no longer built for. And unlike walking or cycling, you don't have full control over the movement. The machine locks you into a fixed path, which can force your knees into unnatural positions. That makes it even easier to overload the joint without realizing it. I wasn't alone. Many older adults fall into the same trap. The leg press feels safe because you're sitting down, but if you're not careful, it becomes a silent destroyer of the knees. So what's a better option? Try seated leg extensions with no weight, or use resistance bands that allow you to control how much force you apply. You can also try chair squats, just standing up and sitting down gently, using your body weight for resistance. These movements are simple, controlled, and much kinder to your knees. And here's something important. More weight doesn't mean more strength. At our age, it's not about lifting heavy. It's about moving well. The lesson I learned was this: don't confuse strength with strain. If an exercise makes you feel powerful but leaves your joints aching afterward, it's not helping, it's hurting. Next, we're going to look at one of the most common exercises out there. It's simple. Everyone does it. But it might be one of the most dangerous movements for aging knees. Let's talk about lunges. Part 7. Lunges. A simple move that can break your balance and your knees. When I first started going to a senior fitness class, the instructor introduced lunges as a great way to build strength and balance. I trusted her. After all, lunges look simple. Step forward, lower yourself, push back up. No jumping, no equipment. It seemed safe. But after just a few weeks of doing lunges, I began to feel a deep, pulling pain in my front knee. Every time I stepped forward, it felt like my knee was under pressure, being stretched and twisted in a way it didn't like. One morning, during a lunge, something slipped. My knee wobbled, and I had to grab onto a chair to keep from falling. That's when I stopped and started asking questions. The truth is, lunges can be risky for older adults, especially for knees that have already lost some of their natural cushioning. When you do a lunge, your front knee takes most of the weight. You bend it deeply while also keeping balance, which puts a lot of strain on the meniscus, the ligaments, and the patella, your kneecap. At the same time, your back knee is bent in a way that can stress the joint if your hip isn't flexible enough to support the movement. You might not feel pain right away, but over time, repeated lunges can lead to inflammation, ligament strain, cartilage wear, and in some cases, even kneecap dislocation or meniscus tears. I met a retired teacher named Gloria, age 71. She was doing lunges daily as part of a home workout video. She thought she was doing something good for her legs, until one day, her knee gave out while she was gardening. The doctor told her it was an overuse injury caused by repeated lunging. Her recovery took 4 months. So what's the safer path? If your goal is to improve balance and leg strength, try side steps, step-ups on low platforms, or standing leg lifts while holding onto a chair. You can also work on wall squats, where your body is supported and your knees don't bend too deeply. The key is control, slow, steady movements that build muscle without pulling your joints out of alignment. And always listen to your body. If something feels unstable, or your knees feel sore the next day, that's your signal to stop and adjust. Pain is not part of progress. It's your body's way of warning you. Up next, we'll talk about a movement you do every day, one you probably don't even think about. But when done wrong, it can be one of the most dangerous for your knees. Let's talk about stairs. Part 8. Stairs and heavy loads. One step away from a serious fall. There's something we all do without thinking: climb the stairs. We do it every day, up to the bedroom, down to the laundry room, maybe even carrying a bag of groceries or a basket of clothes. But what most of us don't realize is that climbing stairs, especially while carrying weight, puts serious pressure on our knees. More than walking, more than standing, and sometimes even more than running. Let me share a story. My neighbor Bill is 70. A strong guy, used to be a firefighter. One day, I saw him carrying 2 heavy grocery bags up the stairs to his porch. Halfway up, he stopped, breathing hard, holding onto the railing. Later, he told me his knees had been bothering him for weeks, but he didn't want to slow down. A few days later, he slipped on the second step. Nothing dramatic, just lost his balance, twisted his knee. But that small misstep turned into a big problem. His doctor said he had torn cartilage from repeated strain over the years. Now, Even standing up from a chair is hard for him. You see, every time you go up the stairs, your knees carry up to 3 to 4 times your body weight. Add bags of groceries, laundry, or boxes, and that number climbs even higher. Our knees weren't built for that kind of repeated stress, especially not at 60, 70, or beyond. The downward movement, coming down the stairs, is often even harder. That's when your knee acts like a brake, controlling your body's descent. It's easy to lose balance, easy to misstep, and all it takes is one small moment for something to go terribly wrong. So what can you do? First, don't carry too much at once. Make 2 trips. Use a rolling cart or ask for help if needed. Second, always use the handrail, even if you feel steady. It's there for a reason. If stairs have become painful, it's time to talk to your doctor or physical therapist. You might need knee support, a different pair of shoes, or even physical therapy to build strength in the muscles that support your knees. And if you live in a home with many stairs, it's okay to consider adjustments, like a stair lift or moving heavy items to the main floor. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. You've climbed a lot of steps in your life. You've carried more than most people know. Now it's time to give your knees the support they deserve, so you can keep moving with strength, not pain. Now, believe it or not, we still have one more exercise to talk about. It's something that seems harmless, but has become more and more popular lately, even though it's putting older knees at serious risk. Let's talk about high-intensity interval training, also known as HIIT. Part 9, Twisting in Sports, a hidden threat in every swing. For years after I retired, I spent most of my mornings at the golf course. It was peaceful, social, and gave me a good excuse to move around. I never saw it as dangerous, not until my friend Carl tore his knee on the 14th hole. Carl was 69, in great shape, and had played golf since he was a teenager. But one morning, during a strong swing, something snapped in his right knee. He collapsed right there on the green. At first, we all thought it was just a muscle strain. But the MRI told a different story, a torn meniscus caused by repeated twisting movements over the years. Now, here's what many people don't realize. Sports that involve twisting, like golf, tennis, or even pickleball, can be very risky for aging knees. Why? Because every time you rotate your body, your knee joints have to support and stabilize you. But as we age, our knees lose flexibility, and the soft tissue around them becomes less forgiving. In golf, it's the backswing and follow-through. In tennis or pickleball, it's the sudden stops, quick pivots, and sharp turns. These moves twist the knee joint while it's bearing weight. If the muscles around your knees are weak or your balance is off, the knee takes the hit, and sometimes it doesn't recover. Even if there's no major injury, the damage can build up slowly. You might start noticing tightness in the back of the knee, a clicking sound when you twist, or a dull ache after every game. Over time, these little signs can become big problems, tears, strains, or chronic inflammation that takes months to heal. So what can you do? You don't have to give up the sports you love, but you do need to play smarter. Warm up before every game with gentle stretches and light walking. Wear proper footwear that supports your knees and improves grip. Avoid playing on hard courts if possible. Look for grass or softer turf. Slow down your swing. Accuracy is better than power at our age. And most importantly, listen to your body. If your knees feel sore after a game, don't push it. Rest, ice, and recover. If you're serious about continuing these activities, consider working with a physical therapist to strengthen your core and leg muscles, especially the ones that protect your knees. We all want to stay active, social, and independent. But to do that, we have to protect the very joints that carry us through every day. A game of golf or tennis should leave you smiling, not limping. So there you have it, 9 common exercises and movements that may be doing more harm than good to your knees. But now that you know what to avoid, the next question is, what should you do instead? Let's move on to the good news. Safe, smart, and joint-friendly exercises that will keep you strong, flexible, and on your feet for years to come. You've just learned about 9 common movements that could be slowly damaging your knees. I know it might feel overwhelming, like everything is off limits. But here's the truth. Staying active is still one of the best things you can do for your health. You just need to do it the right way. After my injury, I asked my physical therapist, "So what's left? What can I do that won't hurt me?" She smiled and said, "James, the goal isn't to stop moving. The goal is to move with wisdom." That changed everything. You see, low impact doesn't mean low results. There are many ways to build strength, improve balance, and stay fit without putting your knees at risk. Let me share with you some of the best exercises I've found for aging knees. These are gentle, effective, and backed by professionals who work with older adults every day. 1. Walking but smarter. Yes, walking is still one of the best exercises around. But where and how you walk makes all the difference. Choose softer surfaces like grass, dirt trails, or cushion tracks. Wear proper walking shoes with arch support and cushioning. Use walking poles if needed. They reduce pressure on the knees and help with balance. Start slow and build up gradually. Even 10 minutes a day is a great beginning. 2. Water workouts. Water is a gift for the aging body. Swimming, aqua walking, or water aerobics let you move freely without joint impact. The water supports your body weight, which takes pressure off your knees. You can improve heart health, muscle strength, and flexibility, all at the same time. If you have access to a pool, make it part of your weekly routine. You'll feel lighter, stronger, and more confident. 3. Stationary cycling. If you miss the rhythm of walking or running, try cycling indoors. A stationary bike keeps you safe from falls and uneven ground. Pedaling strengthens your leg muscles, which protect the knee joint. Start with no resistance, then slowly add a little more over time. Make sure the seat is at the right height. Your knee should stay slightly bent at the bottom of each pedal stroke. 4. Strength training with light weights. Building muscle isn't just for young folks. In fact, strong muscles reduce pressure on your joints and help prevent injuries. Use light dumbbells, resistance bands, or even your own body weight. Focus on slow, controlled movements, no rushing. Always warm up first and stretch after. And remember, form is more important than weight. 10 perfect reps with light resistance do far more good than 5 sloppy reps with heavy weight. 5. Chair exercises. If your balance isn't great or you're just starting out, chair-based exercises are a safe, smart way to begin. Seated leg lifts, ankle rolls, marching in place, arm raises with light weights. You can get a full-body workout from a chair. It's not about where you exercise. It's about how consistently you move. 6. Gentle stretching, yoga, and Tai Chi. Your knees don't just need strength. They also need flexibility and balance. Gentle stretching keeps the muscles around your knees relaxed and mobile. Yoga for seniors focuses on breathing, balance, and calm strength. Tai Chi improves coordination and reduces fall risk. Plus, it's incredibly relaxing. Just 10 to 15 minutes a day can make your joints feel looser and your body more in control. 7. Balance training. Many knee injuries happen because of one simple thing, a loss of balance. Try exercises like standing on one leg while holding onto a counter, heel-to-toe walking in a straight line, using a balance pad under your feet while brushing your teeth. Small daily challenges help keep your nervous system sharp and your knees safe. Most important of all, listen to your body. This might be the biggest lesson I've learned. If something hurts, stop. If something feels wrong, adjust. If you're unsure, ask for help. Pain is not a sign of a good workout. It's your body's way of telling you, this isn't working anymore. And that's okay. Our bodies change, but that doesn't mean we stop moving. We just move smarter. Exercise is important, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. If you truly want to protect your knees and stay mobile, you have to look at the whole picture of how you live. After my knee injury, I thought exercise alone would fix everything. But I was wrong. Healing and staying strong required changes in how I eat, how I walk, even how I rest. Let me share with you what made the biggest difference. 1. What you eat. Nourishing your joints from the inside out. Your joints are living tissue. Just like your muscles and bones, they need the right nutrients to stay healthy. I started paying attention to what was on my plate, and the results were real. Here's what I learned to include. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish like salmon and sardines, or in flaxseed and walnuts. They help reduce inflammation in the joints. Vitamin D supports bone health and helps your body absorb calcium. Get it from sunlight, fortified foods, or supplements. Calcium keeps bones strong. Dairy products, leafy greens, almonds, and tofu are great sources. Collagen and gelatin, found in bone broth or supplements. These help support cartilage repair and joint flexibility. Antioxidant-rich foods, like berries, green tea, and colorful vegetables. They protect your cells, including those in your joints. And just as important, What to avoid? Processed foods, sugary drinks, excess alcohol, foods high in trans fats. These can all increase inflammation, which makes joint pain worse. 2. What you wear. Choosing the right shoes for healthy knees. I never thought much about shoes until I realized how much they affect the knees. Wearing the wrong shoes, especially those with poor support or worn-out soles, can change how you walk. That puts more pressure on your knees, hips, and lower back. Here's what helped me. Supportive walking shoes with a firm sole and arch support. Cushioned insoles to reduce impact with every step. Avoiding high heels or flat, unsupportive shoes like flip-flops. Replacing shoes every 6 to 12 months if worn regularly. If you're not sure what type of shoe is best for you, visit a local shoe store that specializes in foot health or ask a podiatrist. You'd be surprised how much difference a good pair of shoes can make. 3. Your everyday habits. Small changes, big impact. Sometimes it's not the big movements that hurt our knees. It's the small habits we repeat every day without thinking. These little changes help me avoid further damage. Avoid sitting for too long. Get up every 30 to 45 minutes to stretch or walk around. Be careful with stairs. Use handrails. Take your time. Don't carry heavy loads if you don't need to. Don't kneel or squat deeply. Use tools or padded stools when gardening or cleaning. Use assistive devices without shame. A cane, walker, or railing doesn't mean weakness, it means safety. And here's one more tip that really helped me. Sleep matters. Your body repairs itself at night. Good sleep helps reduce inflammation, manage pain, and support healing. Don't underestimate its power. 4. Mindset, the most overlooked tool of all. There's one more thing I want to share. Something I didn't expect. Recovery and staying mobile is as much a mental journey as a physical one. There were days I felt frustrated, angry at my body, worried I'd never walk freely again. But once I accepted where I was and focused on what I could do instead of what I'd lost, everything changed. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. Talk kindly to your body. It's gotten you this far, and it's still with you now. I've walked many roads in my life. Some uphill, some smooth, some full of joy, others marked by pain. But through it all, one thing has stayed with me. Our health is not just about what we do. It's about the choices we make every single day. Your knees have carried you through a lifetime. Through raising children. Through long workdays. Through dancing, climbing, moving, living. They've been to serve you, often without complaint. But now, they're asking for something in return. Not for perfection. Not for youth. Just for care. For kindness. For smarter decisions. You don't need to become someone new to protect your knees. You just need to become more aware of the person you already are, wise, experienced, and still capable of change. What I've shared with you in this video isn't just about knees. It's about freedom. The freedom to move without fear. The freedom to walk in the park with your grandchild. The freedom to dance again, if only in the kitchen. The freedom to age with strength, not struggle. And it starts with one small decision. To stop doing what's harming you. To start doing what supports you. To listen when your body speaks. To act, even when it's uncomfortable. It's not too late. Whether you're 60, 70, or 80, your body is still listening. And it's ready to respond to the care you give it today. So I invite you to take a step. Not a deep squat. Not a jump. Just a small step toward a better, more supported life. Start with a walk. Choose better shoes. Stretch before bed. Eat something green. Say no to pain and yes to healing. And most of all, share what you've learned. Someone you love might be one stare away from a fall, one exercise away from an injury, one video away from understanding how to change. So please, leave a comment with one thing you're going to start doing differently today. Was it walking on softer ground? Swapping squats for chair stands? Drinking bone broth? Whatever it is, write it down. Speak it. Own it. Because when we share what we've learned, we give others the chance to stand taller too. And if this video helped you, even just a little, like it, share it, and subscribe. Not for me, for the next person whose knees are quietly crying out for help. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Your knees and your future are worth every step. Until next time, take care and keep moving gently, wisely, and with heart.